Welcome to Positive News this morning. Essex lorry deaths, 39 found dead were Chinese nationals. The 39 people found dead in a refrigerated trailer in Essex were Chinese nationals. Police have been granted an extra 24 hours to question lorry driver Mo Robinson, 25, on suspicion of murdering the 8 women and 31 men. 3 properties in Northern Ireland had been raided, and the National Crime Agency is working to establish if organized crime groups were involved. The trailer ride in Purfleet on the River Thames from Zeeburg in Belgium. Ambulance staff discovered the bodies in the container at Waterglade Industrial Park in Christchurch after 1:30 BST on Wednesday. The lorry and trailer left the port and the Purfleet shortly after 1 a.m. Police said the tractors unit, the front part of the lorry, entered the country via Holyhead in Wales on Sunday, having travelled from Dublin. Speaking up, the magistrate granted Essex police more time to question Mr. Robinson on Thursday. Deputy Chief Constable Bibba Mills said her priority was preserving the dignity of the 39 people who have died and ensuring that we get answers for their loved ones. Councillor Pope Barry said the village of Lorreville in County Armagh, where the Robinson family lives, was in complete shock. He said he had been in contact with Mr. Robinson's father, who had learned of his son's arrest on Wednesday through social media. The local community is hoping that he had been caught up innocently in this matter, but that is in the hands of Essex police, and we will leave it in their professional hands to try to catch the perpetrators of this, he said. The lorry has been moved to a secure site at Tilbury Docks, and police are due to begin the process of moving the bodies to a mortuary at Bloomfield Hospital in Chelmsford. They will be taken by private ambulance so that post-mortem examinations can take place, with the force expecting all the bodies to have been moved by the weekend. Global Trailer Rentals Ltd confirmed to RTE News that its owned the trailer and said it had leased it on 15th October. The firm said it had given Essex police details of the person and the company they had leased it to. Essex police said it was the largest murder investigation in the force history, and the victims were all believed to be Chinese nationals. It said formal identification of the 39 people, one of whom is young adult women, could be a lengthy process. China's ambassador to the UK, Liu Xiaoming, tweeted that the embassy had read the reports of the death with heavy hearts and was in close contact with British police. Lucy Morton from Immigration Services Union said the sheer number of containers coming into the UK every day made it impossible to look inside them all. We don't have the facility to check the vast majority of freight which arrived in the UK, whether it moves or not, she said. She said disconnected freight containers were less likely to be searched unless there were intelligence to the contrary that suggests we need to do that. Police initially suggested the lorry could be from Bulgaria, but later said officers believed it entered the UK from Belgium. A spokesman for the Bulgarian Foreign Affairs Ministry said the truck was registered in the country under the name of a company owned by an Irish citizen. The Belgian Federal Public Prosecutor's Office said the container arrived in Zeebrugge at 14:29 on Tuesday and left the port after that afternoon. It was not clear when the victims were splayed in a container or if this happened in Belgium, a spokesman said. A spokesman for CRO Post, which operates terminals at Purfleet and Zeebrugge, said they would fully assist the police investigation. Sean Soyle, the National Police says Council lead for modern slavery and human trafficking, said while Fawcett had prevented thousands of deaths, tragically for 39 people that didn't work yesterday. He told BBC Radio for Seconds Today program, even if there were routes perceived as easier to get through, organized criminals would still exploit people who could not access those. Analysis by Celia Houghton, BBC Asia Pacific Regional Editor. When China makes the news headlines, it's often painted as wealthy global power. However, its boom has also fostered extreme inequality, with the top 1% of Chinese citizens holding 1/3 of the country's riches. That gap is widening. A continuing trade war with the United States has forced manufacturers to close disproportionately, pushing some China's poorest workers. Surveys have repeatedly found that China's upper and middle class citizens are eager to leave the mainland, citing worries about the lack of high-quality schooling and health care, lingering pollution and food safety problems. Poor people in China have the same concerns, but they have less opportunity to immigrate overseas. The Chinese government controls who can get a passport and who qualifies for an exit permit. Ever-tightening controls allow people, smugglers, and human traffickers to prey on those who are desperate to find work. We don't yet know the story behind why the people found on the Essex lorry had taken that journey. A UK government report on modern slavery published 1 year ago found that China was the third most common foreign country of origin for victims of human trafficking. Police officers that councillors had signed a book of condolences which were opened at Thurrock Council chambers. A vigil was held at 6 p.m. outside the Home Office to call for urgent action to ensure safe passages for people fleeing war and poverty. Thurrock Conservative PM Jackie Doyle Price said there needed to be an international response. We have partnerships in place, but those efforts need to be repeated. It is an international criminal world where many gangs are making lots of money, and until states act collectively to tackle that, it is going to continue, she said. The news from The Guardian, a BBC News. In terms of Brexit, Boris Johnson to try for 12 December election. The Prime Minister has said he will give member parliaments more time to debate his Brexit deal. If they agree to a 12 December election, Boris Johnson told the BBC he expected the EU to grant an extension to his 31st October deadline, even though he really did not want one. But Jeremy Corbyn said he would not support an election until a no-deal Brexit is off the table. EU leaders could give their verdict on delaying Brexit for up to 3 months on Friday. Commons leader Jacob Rees-Mogg told Member of Parliament the government would on Monday table a motion calling for a general election. Under the 2011 Fixed-Term Parliament Act, 2/3 of Member of Parliament must vote for a general election before one can be held. In a letter to Labour leader Mr. Corbyn, Mr. Johnson said his preferred option was short Brexit postponement, say to 15 or 30th November. But Mr. Corbyn said, take no deal off the table and we absolutely support a general election. I've been calling for an election ever since the last one, because this country needs one to deal with all the social injustice issues, but no deal must be taken off the table. The EU will decide whether there is an extension tomorrow, and then we can decide. Mr. Johnson wrote that, in that case, he would try to get his deal through Parliament again with Labour support. The Prime Minister added that he assumes Mr. Corbyn will cooperate with me to get our new Brexit deal ratified, so we live with a new deal rather than no deal. If, as widely expected, the EU's Brexit delay is to the end of January, Mr. Johnson said he will hold a Commons vote next week on a 12 December election. If Labour agrees to this, the government said it could try to get its deal through before Parliament is dissolved for the campaign on 6 November. Treasury sources told the BBC that the budget would not now be delivered on 6 November as scheduled. Where parties stand on election, Conservatives, Boris Johnson has requested an election twice already, but not all of his members of parliament are on board with the idea, arguing the focus should be on delivering Brexit first. Labour insisted it wants an election but won't vote for one until a no-deal Brexit has been firmly taken off the table. Some of its member of parliament from leaving voting areas may take a different view. SNP, the party's leader at Westminster, Ian Blackford, said, "We want an election, but these terms are not acceptable," adding that the poll should take place earlier than the middle of December. Lib Dems would prefer another referendum, but have said they would vote for an election if there was a long enough extension. Leader Jo Swinson said she wanted to see what the EU said on Friday before deciding. DUP Sammy Wilson, the party's Brexit spokesman, has indicated that the unionists could support an election in a bid to secure better terms with the EU. Independent Group for Change leader Anna Sobre said an election wouldn't solve anything and called again for another referendum. Plaid Cymru, the party's 4 members of parliament are likely to vote against an election, with the party arguing for another referendum instead. Green Party, the party's sole member of parliament, Caroline Lucas, looks set to vote against an election, saying in a tweet the UK could still crash out with no deal if member of parliament can't amend the withdrawal agreement. Thank you for watching and listening.